Pax8 Beyond 2025. What an event. Third year they've had it. I've had the great pleasure of being there for all three. This one was the biggest. It was over 3,400 total attendees, 2,400 partner registrations, like over 40 breakouts and over 40 education sessions. It was, the entertainment was fantastic. Snoop Dogg came out and performed. It was a really, really great event. Podcast was there, of course. We had a whole podcasters row. I think there was 10 of us. It was fantastic. It was done very, very well. I was able to, me and my team, we conducted 24 interviews, had 24 great conversations there in Denver. Kathleen Lord, Lessons from the Saddle, Grit, Growth, and Tech Insight. Great conversation with Kathleen. Aaron Pederick, yes, coaching cybersecurity and real-life comebacks. Fascinating story Aaron has. Shlomi, of course, I've known Shlomi Jan for a little while now. Really insightful. Really like talking to Shlomi. Kim Simmons, my goodness, what such energy, such life. I hope to be working more with her and her team. They were gracious enough to invite me to a dinner. It was they've got a great product, smarter. The name of the episode is Creativity Meets Contracts. Colin Britton, of course, Formula One to Intune. Great partner there. Colin, great conversation with Intune with his great platform. Marco LaVecchia, data, purpose, and the MSP playbook. Great conversation with Marco. Rex Frank, my old friend. I've known Rex for, 15, 20 years. He's there at Pax8. Really knowledgeable. Learned some things about him I didn't know during our conversation. Oh my goodness, Lorna Berman. What a delight. What an absolute delight to talk to Lorna and her team riding Malibu and running MSP ops. She's got a horse named Malibu, but great insight, great platform they had there too. Tom Harshbarger. My goodness, I've known Tom since he was at Microsoft about 20 years. Now he's with this great firm, Metallica, Misconfigs and Mindset. We talk a lot about that. Great conversation with Tom. Lewis, of course, Begdanis from Uvilla. Great conversation. I start off with cooking. I like to cook, and he does too. Meatball Mindset and MSP projects. Darren Swan, great conversation with Darren. I've known Darren for a little while now. Enjoyed talking to him. Opened the conversation with Vinyl, Espresso, and Cyber Trust. Pinar, yes, I love speaking with Pinar. Pickleball, Possums and Proactive Security. Great conversation with Pinar, CEO of that great firm. Tanya, of course, got to know Tanya. We had a great conversation on the phone before we met there and had the conversation in Denver. Tanya Alfonso from Kitchen to Cybersecurity. Damo, I love talking to Damo, of course, from Super Ops. Barbells and AI for MSPs. Great conversation with Demo. Charlie Tomio. I've known Charlie for 15, 20 years now. Great talking. We talk about, phishing and MSP automation, the great Roost platform. Ryan Etteridge, Black Belts and CyberSec. Great conversation with Ryan. Fascinating insight. The martial arts plays on people's lives. Joe Saunders, Cigars, Securities, and Self-Reflection. Great conversation with Joe. Rob Ray, been in the community for, I've known him since he was even before Dado, fellow Connecticut resident. Great talking to Rob. He's doing great things there as vice president there at Pax8. Drew Schlessel, of course, great talking about their Wasabi platform. We actually became a partner as well. The platform is so good. Chance Weaver, AI adoption. He's there at Pax8 talking about his great story and how he got there, but he's working on AI adoption at Pax8. Christopher Marquez. I've had the good pleasure of knowing Christopher for a little while now. We talk about Chile, coaching and cyber threats. Really great insight from Christopher. Chris Day, been in the, my goodness, I've known him since, from IT Glue all the way where he is now at ScalePad. Been in the system for a long, been in the channel, the community for a long time. Gene Kim, surfboard, security, and staying operational. Enjoyed talking to Gene. I had the chance to meet him at Secure, ConnectWise Secure. And lastly, Ken Tripp, Microsoft Copilot and compliance. Great conversations there at Pax8 Beyond 2025. Incredible event. Can't wait to see what they come up with next. Hi, I'm Joey Pinz, and here's my 45-second introduction. After starting my business in the 90s, I started developing poor habits of eating in my diet because of working way too much. Before you know it, I found myself 340 pounds. The doctor told me if I don't lose the weight, I'm not going to see my daughter graduate. Took the next 7 months, lost 130 pounds. People think there's some secret. Ask me, how'd you lose that weight? Like there's some secret. There is no secret. How'd I lose the weight? Just one word: discipline. I've had other successes in life, and I attribute them all to discipline. Now, I'm not the king of discipline, but I believe that it can help all of us. Friends, colleagues convinced me to start a podcast. The podcast mission: how do we better ourselves and society? I talk to interesting people in health, fitness, sport, wellness, business, technology, science, art, and culture. And I eventually ask them how discipline plays a role in their life. Podcast vision: growth through learning from others. I didn't know you were into cycling.
Yeah. I certainly don't have the physique for it.
Yeah.
I played soccer most of my life.
Yeah, me too.
And I got the knees to prove it.
Yeah.
And it turns out getting older, you don't just lose weight by thinking it.
Really?
And I've got sleep apnea and asthma. And so 7-8 years ago, I bought a beat up bike and started riding. I was like, hey, I really like this. So the physical activity is obviously great, but the mental break it gets you. Looking at trees and people and animals, not a lot of time to think about spreadsheets and security protocols. So yeah, it's happiness for me, and my family loves it because they say I'm a better person every time I go for a ride.
Really?
Yeah, man.
And the issue is that you still got to go a couple hours to get a real good workout.
Yeah, and I mix it up. I've got a Peloton. It's not the same as being outside, but getting in 15, 20 miles in an hour instead of not riding 3 times in a week.
That's nice.
Yeah, always better. Keep the heart pumping.
Yeah.
Try to keep me a little bit young here.
And you reminded me, you're a big Virginia Tech alum, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we won't take the whole time, but 2.5 weeks ago, Virginia Tech's in Blacksburg, Virginia, settled up in the mountains of Virginia. Since 2000, our football team has been coming on to Enter Sandman. Look it up on YouTube, people. Virginia Tech Enter Sandman.
Okay.
And Metallica has gotten to know us, and they stopped on their world tour in Blacksburg and played one night, and they made it so personal to the university. Yeah, and I of course was there. My brother came in; he's an alum too. And whatever my disgustingly too high expectations were, they were blown out of the water.
Is that right?
9th time I've seen them, and I will never forget a minute of that show.
In this fast-paced MSP landscape, how do you stay ahead? Introducing MSPinfluencer.com, your ultimate hub for MSP news, insights, and community connection, powered by Forza Dash. More than 75,000 MSPs subscribe to our MSP Influencer Pulse weekly newsletter, staying informed and ahead of industry trends. Tune in to emerging podcasts from Joey Pinz and leading MSP voices, offering essential tips, powerful insights, and success stories. Explore our multi-authored blogs, crafted specifically for MSP leaders, delivering fresh perspectives and actionable strategies. Celebrate excellence with the industry-leading Forza-MSP Influencer Awards, recognizing innovation, leadership, and impact in the MSP community. Join thousands of MSP professionals who trust MSPinfluencer.com to grow their business and expand their networks. MSPinfluencer.com, where today's MSP leaders connect, collaborate, and conquer, all powered by the Forza Dash platform, helping MSP vendors work effectively with MSPs and helping MSPs grow. They performed in the football?
Yeah, and that stadium in various forms has been around for well over 100 years.
Really?
First concert ever.
Wow.
Yeah.
Capacity? What's the whole?
So for that show, it was 75,000, but they also had 25,000 outside, so we had 100,000 for the show. And if I didn't send it to you, I'll send you a little Richter scale readout. When they started Enter Sandman, it registered in the county that Blacksburg is in. It's just like, man, this is just, my ears didn't bleed. That's the only thing I missed out on.
Wow. Incredible. And this was in 2000? I mean, in 20...
The actual concert was 2.5 weeks ago.
Oh, it was 2.5 weeks ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were still touring.
Yeah, they just announced their 2026 dates for their world tour back in Europe, and yeah, first time I saw them was probably '89.
Wow.
Man, they sound just as good, if not better now. And they're one of
right?
the only bands of people in their 60s where you're like,
That's right.
I think maybe banging your head while you're holding your walker isn't that cool, but they're still keeping it true.
And you saw Metallica in Glasgow. I mean, you followed them around.
Yeah, that'll be next year.
Oh, you're going next year.
Yeah,
one of the 26.
One of the other Red Sift guys is based in Glasgow, and he was buying tickets. He says, "If you'll come, I'll buy one." I was like, "Well, I'll show up." He's like, "I bought you one." It's like, I guess I have to explain this to my wife now.
Oh, Tom, so we're here in Denver at Pax8 Beyond 2025. What are some of your goals this week?
Yeah, so there are all sorts of business goals and metrics: how many scans, how many follow-up meetings, how many registrations, how many sales. But it's really, all that just comes from relationships and talking to people and a lot of listening. I probably know a lot, but I'm positive everybody knows more than me about everything, or at least something. And so getting to know, whether it's Pax8 people or the MSPs or anybody else here, getting to hear about their experience, their business, what's challenging them and their customers, be it security-wise, economically. I just love being a sponge for that. And then when there's a place, I'm with Red Sift currently, when there's a place where we can help that, then it's great to dive in and really try to sell them on the value and how we can help them. Otherwise, I've just made a friend and I've learned something I didn't know. And so these are just incredibly low pressure. It's the most structured social gathering that you'll ever go to. And then getting to see old friends like you and stop in on something like this, unexpected and awesome.
Crazy, yeah.
Yeah.
I think somebody reached out from Red Sift. I don't remember, but I saw your name. It was unbelievable. Other than me, does anybody know you from from Microsoft here?
Yeah. So it's so many people.
Oh, really?
Well, so it's cool for me this year. And Pax8 gave me this stat. There are more first-time attendees to this Beyond than there were total attendees to the Beyond last year.
Wow.
Last year was great. I knew 1 in 3 people, and it was awesome, but it's like that's not that much new ground. This year I know maybe 1 in 20.
Wow.
And then reconnecting with old people. So the Microsoft PDM that manages Pax8, we're old friends. About 6 or 7 of my Microsoft team from Synex. After the merger, after I left, they came to Pax, and they've all run up the ladder like they should. And then there are other friends. I've got friends at AWS that used to work for me at Synex.
Wow.
And so it really is. Our world is incredibly small.
It is.
And when you meet good people, it's like I might not see you for 3 years, but we'll start that conversation back up like it didn't miss a beat. And that's just what's better than that, other than being with family?
Right. How long were you at Synex? I forgot you were there.
Yeah, I was there for about 4 years.
Wow.
Came on early on and ran the B2B platform development and solution engineering, and then exited running the Microsoft North America business.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of fun learning it again. You pick up so many good people along the way, or they pick you up. I think it's more like it.
Yes.
And I was no exception there.
And that was before they merged with Tech Data?
No, I stayed on for a year during the M&A to pull the Microsoft businesses together. At that point, still a great business, but looking for what am I going to do next that I don't know how to do. And it seemed like I needed to do that somewhere else. And so I handed over the reins and headed off into the sunset.
So how does Red Sift help MSPs?
Yeah, great question. And I'm going to try to stay away from as many buzzword bingo words as I can.
Good.
So we're cybersecurity, and we use AI, like every other company that says they do security in the world. Quick explanation of who we are, then I'll tell you what we do and why it's good.
Great.
So probably you and everybody we're talking to has at some point used the Shazam app.
Oh, yeah.
Our founders, Rahul and Randall, are the Shazam guys. Built that app, grew it, eventually sold it to Apple. So that's both nerdy cool, but it's the same mental model. Shazam was meant to collect a bunch of data points or signals. In that case, musical notes, voices.
Right.
Run it against something to look it up and then return back what it was.
Right.
They found Red Sift on the exact same notion back in 2016, but it's cybersecurity. It's not heavy metal or country music or whatever you're listening to. So our cybersecurity, we help MSPs by detecting misconfigurations all along attack perimeter, and then telling MSPs not just there's an issue, but here's exactly how you resolve it. Click here to log into this provider, copy paste this. And so it's absolutely meant to better secure end customers.
Wow.
And the idea for the MSPs is you don't use your most senior engineers for most of the remediation. Let your junior engineers do it in a lot more time, so saving money and efficiency, boosting margin. And then, these configurations you're fixing, they stop attacks from happening, so you don't need a SOC. The firewall doesn't get taken to its knees. And we work across email security with DMARC, certs, your PKI infrastructure, brand impersonation, executive face impersonation, as well as the rest of your hosts and DNS and all that. And so it's the other value we try to bring is it's really broad. So we don't do one thing, and then the MSP has to add 3 more new vendors for the other 3 things. And we also really don't care if customers ever know who we are. Our purpose is to make it easy enough for the MSPs. They can have a platinum tier package that includes us. They know they're protected, and it doesn't matter what vendor's doing it. Because the MSPs shouldn't have to wear our T-shirts or anyone else's. It's one MSP or Forza Dash or whoever it is out there, and they're the face of the customer. So I just want to be behind the scenes, help people pay their mortgages, make their customers happy, and then figure out the next thing we can do to help.
Why do you like working with MSPs, Tom?
Oh, man.
What's great about the community?
Yeah, so in my years at Microsoft, I started out, in the enterprise space, trying to convince Fortune 500 companies why they should spend $1 million on Microsoft Word. That's how old I am.
Wow.
Then I ended up, I took a job on a flyer. My wife and I wanted to leave California because we didn't have $1 million for a really beat up condo. So I took this brand new job called Partner Community Manager, moved to North Carolina back in 2005, and that's when I started working with partners. And probably in the first 6-7 months, it started occurring to me that there's actually something I can do that will help somebody add that customer. And back then, they were VARs. We were selling box and OEM software. And the first time I connected the dots that somebody said they needed help here, and I found the experts that could help them, and then they added customers. It's like, okay, tech is cool. None of us are going to go to the grave with our Azure consumption numbers on our headstones. But this neat idea that there was actually help you could give people and that you could make a little bit of a difference. And that lit me up. It went from technology is cool to oh man, I'm going to feel really bad when I don't help somebody, which is going to make me work harder to find someone who can. And it's been that ever since. There's always challenges and friction and all that stuff. But if you build good trust relationships, you run into issues or you don't solve something, that's a conversation to be had to figure out. If you're all transactional and just looking for an extra 2% margin or the next MSP that can give you 100 end customers in their first month, that's a job. Some people love it, but just not for me.
Right. Have you changed your mind on anything in the last month or so? Huh?
How long do we have? Yeah. I'll keep it to work.
Okay.
So, what we do at Red Sift, I really believe in the technology. And I've been with other startups, and you usually have great sales and marketing, and you hope the product does what you told someone it would do.
Right.
We have kind of the reverse issue here where we haven't generated a massive market presence.
Interesting.
And no matter how good or bad I am at what I do, I can't compete with 5 people at a competitor. I can't compete with a $250,000 marketing budget. And so while we work on those things as a company to solve, it's taken me back to quality over quantity. I shouldn't tell anyone or assume myself that I could beat out somebody that's hired 5 people to do something. That'd be both arrogant and wrong.
Hey, Joey Pinz here. Want to take your podcast experience to the next level? I'm excited to invite you to become a YouTube member. It's the absolute best way to support the channel and enhance your connection. Join our amazing community and unlock the incredible perks, custom loyalty badges, exclusive emojis, and priority comment replies. Your voice will always stand out. Be the first to watch new videos with early access, receive special membership shoutouts, and get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and updates. Dive into content available only to our members, special videos, deep dives, and insider perspectives. Engage directly with me. Suggest podcast topics you want to hear, and even get personalized video shoutouts. Hit the join button right now and become part of something special. Let's build this amazing community together. I can't wait to welcome you as a new member. Join the Joey Pinz family today.
It's changed the way that I look at working with the MSPs and realizing that no matter how much of a sprint this feels like, it's always a marathon and there's always tomorrow. And that's, in truth, this is going to sound really controversial, in truth, MSPs and customers just don't care what we do.
Right.
And a lot of them, even though Yahoo, Google, Microsoft have these mandates about how your DMARC protocol needs to be configured to be able to send, until someone or you get burned by one of these misconfigurations, it's hard to take seriously, like I need to spend another $1,000 a year on that.
Right.
So stepping back and working on helping partners qualify quality leads instead of quantity. I can run 100 domains for you and tell you how to talk to every single one of them. And that's a lot of data for an MSP with 1, 2, 10 people. But if we work together on 3 or 4 customers and I co-sell and I train, gets right back to what we were just talking about. It's like, okay, am I going to hit my quota this month? Maybe not. But did I just make a new work friend because we figured something out together, whether it was a sales outcome or not? And that takes me all the way back to like, okay, I'm helping somebody. And if I do that well enough, things will come around. The revenue will come. And in that, we will then do our from the ground up building the market name. Can't spend $1 million tomorrow and have a market name by the following Monday.
Right.
But you start talking to some of these MSP communities or helping individuals, they all talk and they share experiences, good and bad.
They do.
And so while I've got to be grassroots, I'm really embracing kind of doing what I did earlier in my career, but now I'm a little bit smarter, hopefully. And so that's the fun for me.
When MSPs are looking for a cybersecurity partner, Tom, what questions should they be asking?
Yeah, a few things, business and technical. On the technical front, quiz them like they're Microsoft or Google or AWS.
Sure.
Do they support multi-tenancy in the cloud? Does every end customer get its own tenant, et cetera? Because there are lots of people out there who fake that through a UX, but that puts data security at risk. God forbid you get audited and that vendor isn't secure, you're probably liable as an MSP. So ensuring that they are technically structured to protect the data, granular permissions, all those things we love to roll through. So really making sure that's, they're structured to protect you and your business as well as your customers. On the business side, I keep saying we're going to come up with this list of questions, but there's probably 4 or 5 questions that you can ask any vendor that will right away peel away. Do they understand MSPs or are they selling to them? And even to categorize an MSP as one thing, a one-man shop servicing 100 customers is amazing. 500-person shop doing 10,000 customers is amazing. They'll have different questions, but you need to probe in and you need to probe in and figure out, is what they offer, obviously, can I be profitable? That's got to be there. But what am I giving up that I won't be able to do with my time by working with this vendor? And do my customers value this type of security more than they do that type? And so I think that's incredibly important, because the best product in the world, if it takes you 10 hours to deploy every time and you're getting $10 an hour, and somebody else will give you $100 an hour, well, go to the 100.
Right.
And so I think really it's profitability, alignment to the MSP business model, how that MSP works, and then ensuring they're technically sound so that you can rely on their data security for yourself.
So, Tom, I think I told you this story, but I started my MSP back in the 90s, and I was working way too hard, 14-hour days, and putting my health in the back seat. So I'm sitting in front of the doctor, and she tells me I'm at 340 pounds. I think I told you this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still don't believe you, but you told me.
Yeah.
There's 3 Joes.
So she's like, if you don't lose this weight, you're not going to see your daughter graduate. Scared the hell out of me. My youngest just graduated, by the way, University of Maryland. By the way, the keynote speaker 2 weeks ago, Kermit the Frog.
I saw that.
Yeah.
And I thought that was
It
fantastic.
was unbelievable. 40,000 of us in the football stadium singing Rainbow Connection. It was crying. It was unbelievable.
I love it.
So I spent the next 6-7 months, lost about 120 pounds, kept it off. You can't look at it as a finishing line. It's lifelong changes. When I tell people this time, they always say, what's your secret? And there's no damn secret. So discipline, that's how I did it. Focus, motivation. How does discipline play a role in your life?
Yeah, good question. In a number of ways. And this one I'll go more personal than business to start. So in the last 20 plus years that I've been with my wife, discipline went from being something I could say I had if something turned out the way I wanted it to, so more coincidence than anything else. But my wife and daughter both have chronic health conditions. Both suffer from or live with a form of dysautonomia called POTS. We could do a podcast.
I think I interviewed somebody with POTS.
Very well may have.
Yes.
Dysautonomiainternational.org, and you can read it. It mainly attacks women. There are 86 distinct symptoms, and there's no specific treatments.
Right.
So that presents challenges. Some days I'm too tired to go to the mall. Other days I'm not getting out of bed. And then my daughter, a couple years ago, was hit with chronic pain syndrome in the legs. She missed 1.5 years of high school.
Whoa.
It's not better, but it's managed. And fortunately, we're in a place where she can get her degree remote and get a full high school degree.
Wow.
So my son just graduated high school this week. She graduates in 2 months.
Wow.
But so all that to say that this journey with the family, a bunch of things came out. I started out as the guy who was going to take care of everything and everybody.
Right.
And that's great, as long as you're taking care of yourself. And I absolutely wasn't. And so discipline had to come into my life in order for me to be a decent, good person before I could ever be any good to them. And so that involved, a modification in my relationship with food. I dropped about 40.
Did you really?
Yeah, 6 or 7 years
I
ago.
remember you being overweight.
I wore big shirts.
I see.
Yeah.
I did that too.
Yeah, and stood behind a lot of podiums. But having to develop the discipline to not stress eat as much, and there's no diet where you eliminate something,
right?
Because like you say, it's a journey.
Yes.
But getting more healthy, starting cycling because the physical output was good, but the mental break was incredibly healthy. I ended up going to a therapist, talking out a lot of stuff, getting healthy there.
Wow.
And so that started to introduce this, not quite a fixed schedule every day, but this discipline of, okay, I need to eat at this time. No, I'm not going to have a second bowl of ice cream. Yes, I need to read about this aspect of depression to better understand myself.
Wow.
And that kind of evolved into now. I feel blessed to be the dad to my kids, husband to my wife, and to be the one to take care of them. Truly do. But if I don't take care of myself, I'll get short with them, or they get less than what they need, and they don't deserve that. And so absolutely have to have discipline to do most of what I need to do most days, and accept that being perfect and getting all of it done every day, it's not realistic.
Right.
So a little grace, a lot of discipline, and then that carries over into work. The change in attitude about relationships and helping people has continued to grow because of the home experience. And also, in my position as a vendor or as an MSP, you could clock an entire week just talking to people, and it would probably be great. If I'm the MSP, I probably just lost 40 hours of work. If me as a vendor, I've got a lot of friends and no paycheck. So being able to walk the line of having a good time and talking to people you care about and like, and talking business, and there's no formula for that either. But there's a feeling you have to go with and know, okay, I did this much last week, I got to do that. And so it all of that lands in this discipline that I've been fortunate enough to end up in through the influence of a lot of other people in my life. And that's now how I keep metered and pretty happy. I have my stressful weeks, but I'm much better equipped to undo that stress in the right amount of time in a healthy way. And that lets me be better the next morning for family and work as well.
And through all this, did you actually say I'm being more disciplined, or you just did it?
Yeah, good question. It was probably 3 or 4 years ago when I realized I am more disciplined.
I see.
Before that, being a former engineer, it was a task list. And so like, okay, I have to check off these 3 things this day. My therapist said I need to read this or listen to this. And so it was very linear, task oriented, top to bottom. But then, you get hit with a curve. I don't know, COVID.
Right.
And everything goes up in the air, and you've got all the time in the world to do everything you want, but the world is so weird, you're not getting anything done.
Right.
And that's when got into a couple different apps that helped me that eventually evolved in just this organic, like, okay, I now have discipline. I lack discipline at some things, and I can address those, but now I have it. So it was really an accidental discovery over a lot of time.
Accidental discovery. What motivates you, Tom?
What does motivate me? Laughter. If we can't laugh during life and at life, how are we ever going to get through the tense moments and situations, be it global political or my service went down for a half hour? Doesn't mean I don't get stressed, but you go back to relationships and helping people, eventually you got to be able to laugh it out. That's just absolutely healthy. Family, and family should have come first. Sorry, Margaret. There's a lot of laughter in our family.
Of course.
And I'm not unique in saying that, but run through a wall, jump in front of a truck.
Right.
I'd go flip burgers or dig a ditch if that's what I had to do to support them. And so with that in hand, I feel like I'm equipped for just about anything else. And then so family, laughter, quality relationships, and that's kind of an outcropping of those first 2.
Sure is.
Whereas the older I get, it's not that I need less friends, but I end up skewing more towards quality over quantity. Used to have barbecues with 100 people. Now we have them with 8.
Wow.
And it's not a reflection on anybody else. It's just, we want time and attention focused in some people we really dig, as opposed to I talk to 100 people for 30 seconds each. So that's a big motivator. And then might sound off, but success. And success can be defined by so many things. I cooked that burger well. I beat my quota. I did more than I thought I could do on my bike. But it's setting goals to stretch yourself, meeting some of those goals, and then missing others so that you can learn and reset those goals or try something else. So I think always and forever, if I was ever to write all this down, I'd always fail more than I succeed. And I'm thankful for that, because so many people taught me over the years, like you don't learn much when the market is good and you're hitting your quota left and right. You learn happiness that's only as good as the next quarter quota. But yeah, so those are a few of the key things for me.
So given the motivation of legacy, want to show your love for discipline, inspiration, and the Joey Pinz podcast? Now's your chance. Introducing the brand new Joey Pinz merch store, where style meets discipline. Choose from premium apparel, cozy hoodies, stylish hats, durable bags, and your new favorite coffee mug, all featuring the iconic Joey Pinz logo. Perfect for podcast fans, discipline enthusiasts, or as unique gifts for friends and family. Every purchase supports the Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations podcast, helping us continue to inspire greatness and promote positive change. Visit joeypinz.com/store today and wear your discipline proudly. Joey Pinz merch. Wear it, share it, and live it. Of good health. You talked about success, but how do you measure success given those motivations?
Yeah, that's good. Part of the answer is I don't think about that a lot. There are indicators to look for. So, I grew up, I'm still somewhat of a people pleaser. I like making people happy. Strength and weakness at times, like so many of these features we have. But in looking for success, it's the little things, like a friend and I recently built a contraption for my daughter's bed so she can have a full gaming and educational experience workstation that she can just roll away from herself when she doesn't want to work and bring to herself. If she can't get out of bed, she can do work. the work of designing that and building it was awesome. The look in her eye when she saw it and first use it, like, okay, that was massive success. And that, I wouldn't call that people pleasing. I'd call that parenting.
Right.
There is, you know, it was a tough year at Microsoft, but somehow we made 102% of our quota through the good grace of about 4,000 partners. So I look for things like that. And then there's personal satisfaction of, and I try not to get too big anymore. I woke up this morning, I got a little bit of headache. It's raining outside. Yeah, I'm going to get on the bike and go out. And it doesn't care how fast, how many calories. I don't care about that. But I get home like, you know what? A few years ago, I would have grabbed a bag of chips and thrown on a movie I'd seen 9 times already. And so I look for a collection of a lot of little things and things from people that I consider very close and I care about, and try to keep it there. Like so many people, you know, it's easy to think about of the 100 things you did today, the one thing that you know somebody who will do better. And I'm a huge victim of that, of always comparing up or over. And so this has been a lot of retraining over the years to say, like, you know, success and being happy is just a collection of a whole bunch of getting over a little grain of sand. And when I can stay like that, life is pretty good, and the difficult days stay in that day. And I'm not perfect, and sometimes they last a week.
Tom, it's so great seeing you. Thanks for your time today. Anybody listening and watching, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Tom Harshbarger. Or you can find me at Red Sift, tom.harshbarger, HARSHBARGER, at redsift.io. I'd love to hear from you. Want to do business? Great. Want to chat? Can I help you? Can you help me? I'll talk to anybody for a while, and we'll see if we're friends and go from there.
Thank you so much, Tom.
Thanks, Joe. You're awesome, man.
Thank you for listening and or viewing Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations. Please share this episode with 1 or 2 of your friends who you think may benefit from the episode. Our website, www.joeypinz.com. There you'll find lots of resources, and you could join our mailing list. Please follow us on all our social media, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Podcast information, the video version of our podcast is on YouTube. Please subscribe. Audio is on all major podcasting platforms. Please follow them. And if you like it, please consider giving 5-star rating. Would really appreciate that. Thank you again for listening or watching Joey Pinz Discipline Conversations.